Hey everybody, so the NHL returns tonight from its Christmas break. Before we get back into action, I want to take a look at the standings because this is a pretty big juncture of the season, a pretty big checkpoint. And I want to compare the standings to what my standings predictions were from the beginning of the season before a game was even played. And I can tell you, just looking at it, my predictions are not all that great. But we're going to start with the Eastern Conference here. Before we get into it, I just quickly want to remind everyone to please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Greatly helps out the channel and is much, much appreciated. So here we go. In black are my standings predictions for the Eastern Conference from the beginning of this season. And in green is the standings right now where they are by division. And as we'll go through and see, I was wrong about a number of teams in the East. So let's start with the Metro, where I had Washington winning, which Washington right now is in first place and pretty comfortably ahead of the New York Islanders. Looks like Washington probably going to win this division, and I was right about that. Second, I had the New Jersey Devils coming in second, and that is a big oof. Every year there's always a surprise team that comes up and kind of comes out of nowhere or is significantly better than they were the season before. And I picked the Devils to be that team after the additions they made in the offseason. I thought, New Jersey had a roster in place that could really surprise a lot of people and make a significant impact this year. As we've seen so far, it's been the exact opposite. New Jersey's one of the worst teams in the league. They're actually in last place right now. Completely wrong about the New Jersey Devils. Also wrong about the team that is in second place right now, the New York Islanders. I thought we were going to see a significant decline in New York this season. I didn't think that they would be able to play defense the way that they did last year. I thought letting Robin Lehner go was going to be a huge mistake. Thought he was instrumental in their success last season. Turns out Varlamov's come right in and played pretty well, very well. And Greiss has been even better this season than he was last year. So the goaltending wasn't an issue for the Islanders. The team defense, they're doing exactly what they did last season. And the Islanders are once again up in second place. So I was very wrong about New Jersey being good and very wrong about the Islanders taking a step back. In third place, I had the Pittsburgh Penguins. They're currently in fourth place with the team that I had in fourth place, Philadelphia. So they are right next to each other in the standings, 1 point apart. Not, pretty. Say I was pretty close with both of them. Also, Carolina I had in fifth place. Carolina is in fifth place. Currently tied with Pittsburgh, but they've played one more game and have 46 points. So these three teams here, I think I was pretty much in on them being 3, 4, and 5. And they're right next to each other in the standings, all within a point. And the order is going to flip-flop a lot as this season goes along. But then I had the Islanders dropping. That's obviously not the case. Columbus right now is in the 6th spot, who I actually had finishing last in the division. We knew Columbus was going to take a step back given all that they lost this past offseason. They haven't taken as big of a step back as I thought. They're not a last place team, but they are pretty easily not a playoff team this season. I had the New York Rangers in 7th, and that's exactly where they are right now. And then Columbus is not in last. The New Jersey Devils, one of the biggest disappointments in the NHL this season, are in last place. So as you can see with the Metro, I was right about Washington being at the top. I got these middle teams, pretty well. I had a pretty good idea of where they were going to be, and they've been that so far this season. The two huge mistakes I made were the Devils being good and the Islanders taking a step back. Neither of those two things happened. Now, moving on to the Atlantic Division. I predicted the Tampa Bay Lightning to win the Atlantic Division, as many people did, given how insanely good they were last season. That's not been the case. The Lightning have been a huge disappointment. They're currently 6th in the division, out of the playoffs. It's not been a good year for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Boston currently is in first, who I thought would finish third. Boston has been better this season than I thought they were going to be, for sure. They've also largely been aided by the rest of this division being kind of disappointing. I think Toronto's starting to play better, but obviously had an awful start to the year. So overall, they haven't been as good as people thought they were going to be. Tampa Bay's been a huge disappointment. Florida, in my mind's kind of been a disappointment. I thought they would be better with Bobrovsky in goal. Boston's been aided by the fact that the rest of this division has not been very good, or at least as good as people thought they were going to be, at least the top teams. And that's really helped out Boston a lot. They've been better than I thought they would be as well. They just find ways to rack up points, and they only have 7 regulation losses all season long. Toronto, I had finishing second. Toronto is in second. However, they're not in second in the way that I thought they were going to be. I thought Toronto would be one of the top teams in the league and pushing for that top spot. Toronto's in second, basically because Tampa Bay has not been good. Florida hasn't been that good. Montreal's actually been better than I thought they would be in third place. I thought Montreal was going to be in fifth. Florida's where I thought they would be in fourth place, but they're not a good fourth place. I thought they were going to be a good fourth place and a wild card team in the playoffs, and that's not been the case. They're out of the playoffs right now. Now, the thing is, all of these teams, 2 through 6, Toronto all through Tampa Bay, they are all right on top of each other within 4 points. So there's going to be a lot of shuffling amongst those teams as this season goes along, for sure, and which teams make the playoffs and which ones do not is still very, very much up for grabs. I had Detroit finishing 6 in this division, and that's not going to happen. I thought we might see kind of a little bit of an improvement from the Red Wings this year. If you watch this channel, I really, really like a lot of their young players. But this year has been an absolute disaster for the Red Wings. They are the worst team in the league by far, and they look really, really bad. So Detroit's actually in last place. Buffalo hasn't been as bad as I thought they would be. They've been aided by a very, very good home record this season. Problem is they can't really win on the road. They're 6-11-4 on the road, but they're 11-3-3 at home. So Buffalo has been largely aided by the home record. They've been better than I thought they were going to be. They're currently in 5th place, outside of the playoff picture, but only by a couple of points. So in Ottawa I thought was going to be the worst team. They're not that bad. They've certainly played a lot better than I thought they were going to be. They've got 16 wins already on the season. I thought they might have 16 wins on the season. Honestly, looking at that roster heading into the year, I thought they might, realistically, maybe a 20-win team, 20 to 25 wins. They've already got 16. They've been much, much better than I thought they were going to be. Detroit's actually been the team that's the laughingstock in the East. And Ottawa's, they're certainly not a playoff team, but they are playing a lot better than people expected. So, the Atlantic Division not really going exactly how I thought it would, that's for sure. I think there's been a lot of disappointments in this division, a lot of teams not playing up to par. Montreal's been a little better than I thought they would be. Boston's been better than I thought they would be, but Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Florida, in my mind, have been pretty disappointing. Buffalo's been a little bit better, and then, Ottawa and Detroit are your 2 worst teams. So, that's the Eastern Conference. My predictions, obviously, I've gotten a lot wrong so far. Things just haven't gone exactly how I foresaw it, but that's the NHL. That's the way it is every year. You have to take predictions with a grain of salt, especially in the NHL, because something wild and crazy happens every single year, and it's impossible to correctly predict because there's just so much parity. Some teams that just come out and surprise everyone, other teams that come out and are huge disappointments, and it's the same thing year after year. So as of now, Christmas break, this is where we're at with my predictions versus the actual standings. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our Patreon merchandise store are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.